Hi everyone, Adam here from WebSan, and I have a session I'm really excited to show everyone today. And that's getting started with AI agents using some real world examples. So we've got some really cool AI agents that we want to demo to you because we often find that SMBs struggle with coming up with ideas for implementing AI. So what I want to do is demonstrate 5 different agents for you. Hopefully these get your creative juices flowing, and hopefully you can apply some of these or variations of these in your business. For each of them, I'll share a quick video, roughly 3 or 4 minutes. And even in some of them, I'll share even the architecture. So if you want to copy it, you very well can. And so, yeah, I just want to walk you through a few different agents. So the first one is a Teams recap. So what we do in our business is we often have Teams meetings. We use Microsoft 365 Copilot to record and transcript those Teams meetings. And I'm going to show you a quick video here, but ultimately what we're doing is we're taking those transcripts and we're creating a document from them. In this case, we record a sales call and we turn that sales call or the transcript of that sales call into a sales proposal for our customers. Now, something to keep in mind is we create about 80% of the proposal. We don't create the timeline or the license detail data, but it gets us, like I said, 80% of the way there, which saves a ton of time in our business. So let's take a look.
Hi everyone, Adam here from WebSan, and today we wanted to show you a quick overview of a solution that we've built that we found very valuable and powerful for a lot of customers. And what we're doing within this solution is we're automatically creating documents from Teams recordings. So what we're showing on the screen right now is Power Automate, and this shows our Power Automate flow. And within this, you can see a number of steps. So I'm just going to walk you through those steps real quick. So the very first step, all we're doing is we're creating a file and we're saving that file into SharePoint. So this would be something like a Teams recording. So you record your session with your client, whether that be like a sales session or a design session, and you save it into SharePoint. The next step of this flow is we're scraping all the text out of that file. And then we're sending that to GPT 4.1, so our AI model, and it's returning back the important information to us. And so we're only using that important information, and we're also obviously formatting that text as needed. So bullet points or bullet points, paragraphs and paragraphs, so on and so forth. So we're pulling that information back out where it says get content. From there, we're then pulling a template file from SharePoint. So in this case, it is a sales proposal. So we're pulling that template and then we're populating that template with our important information. So we've outlined in that template where it could edit the information, and it just puts that important information into the various places. And then we save that back into SharePoint. And you can see the processing time here. The first step's 4 seconds, second step is a couple seconds. So this is all happening within seconds of the Teams meeting being completed. You literally have a completed sales proposal. And I'm actually going to show on my screen here real quick a example. This is literally an example that we created using this exact flow a couple days ago. You can see it's our standard document. For anyone that's familiar with our Dynamics Business Central proposals, this is an overview of what we're implementing. Here's some of the parts of the solution. Here's some of the functionality, customizations. Now I've hidden some of the company name here just to protect the innocent. I'm not going to go all the way through this, but this is our standard form, and it's got all our terms and conditions and various other details like the investment, the timeline, so on and so forth. So that's just our overview of the solution that we wanted to show you, because we thought it was a really cool tool. A lot of other clients have contacted us to use this for their purposes, whether it be proposals or whether it be other documentation that they need to create for their various customers. And so we're finding this a very powerful solution that we wanted to highlight to our customer base.
Right. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of something that you can do with your team's recaps. Now, again, in this case, we created a sales proposal, but you could create any type of document from a team's recap. The next one I want to talk about is taking a proposal. So say you've got a signed proposal and the customer's actually approved that document you've created, and turn that into a project with, your proper budgets and so on and so forth. So we've got a model that will read proposals, pull out the header information for the project, pull out all the line and budget detail from there, and push that into Dynamics for people to book their time against. And if you look at our case, you bundle that with the previous agent that I just showed you. We've taken the whole process from sales through to project initiation and automated a vast percentage of it. So we create the document automatically for the most part. Once it's approved, then goes into the system, and the whole handover process from sales to the implementation team is really automated. So let's go jump in and take a look at this example.
Hi everyone, Adam McIntosh here, and what we want to show you really quickly was a tool that we've built using AI. It can read various documents, so it can read all your important documents, pull out the relevant or important information, and help you process that in whichever way you wish. So we're just scrolling through a document here, and here's a sample document. Now what we're about to show you is reading this, and what we've done is we've built this model and we fine-tuned it to read different document types. So as an example, I can tell the model to extract one set of fields for customer A and a completely different set of fields for customer B. It's whatever's relevant to that customer, we can then pull out. So we've modified some of this information on here, obviously, to hide the innocent. But the client that we built this for, they're a national company across Canada. So they get documents in both English and French, in which this model supports. In fact, it supports any language supported by GPT models. So we can read whatever documents you might need. So let's quickly run it. We'll read the details out of this particular document. So you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, one document has been successfully processed. So let's go look at the outputs of what were relevant from that document. What you see here is first a bunch of header information from the document. So it pulls out all the relevant header information. And as you go down, there's subsections below. And these are all the various budget lines. So it's detailed the various budget lines or tasks that are underneath this contract or this proposal. So you can see here, we got a senior AI consultant. It's got a quantity of hours, a unit price, total price, a currency. So you can go through and keep scrolling through and see all the various relevant line level information. Now, for this particular customer, what they were doing was they were sending these proposals via DocuSign. Once that DocuSign was completed, it was saved into a SharePoint folder. And at that point, the system or this model automatically read and processed that document. So all of this ultimately is packaged into an API. So technically, you can pull the data into whatever system you desired. Now, this particular client, they flowed this data into Dynamics in order to create a project. So as you can see here, these are obviously project lines. And so their staff would then use that document within Dynamics now to start booking time against. So literally within seconds of having the DocuSign completed, you could, in theory, have staff booking time. But ultimately, that task for the PM of setting up the project, it was already complete. So you pair this with a few notifications within your dynamic system, and your whole handover process from sales to the delivery team is quite frankly automated. So a real simple, easy way to tackle that process. This is a lot of data transfer, data entry that's really saved, and it's 100% accurate as well. So a lot of manual work taken out of the process and really simplifying that process. That's all we had to show you in this one. Hope you appreciate it. Thanks for now.
All right, so now that we've got the proposal into Dynamics as a project, let's talk about managing that project. And that's where our project risk agent comes in. So from our past life, we used to go through all of our projects on a Monday, identify where there's maybe challenges, and as a team, we talk about those projects. That was very time consuming. Now we only talk about the projects where there's risk, because a lot of projects are going well. We don't have a need to address those or do anything with those projects. And so we needed a way to identify where there's potential risk or where their projects are, going sideways. So in this case, we've got an agent that'll assess the various variables for a project, compare that to prior like projects for those variables. So it could be the project manager, the customer, the type of work, the people working it, the person that estimated the job, the various types of tasks, or where you are with those types of tasks in their life cycle. It'll assess all those against your prior history, and we've got thousands of projects in our history to determine where there might be risk. So let's jump in and take a look at this example.
Hi everyone, Adam here with Oscar and Jeff from the WebSand team, and we wanted to give you an overview of our project risk agent. So we've got a bit of an architecture overview here on the screen. Our first step is really pulling all of our project data down from Dynamics, because we use Dynamics as our core ERP. From there, we push the data into a machine learning model and pull out a bunch of risk factors. Those all go through a custom model that we'll show you here in a second. And then we surface that data in both Dynamics CRM and Power BI, as those are the tools our project managers use to manage our projects. So here we are in CRM, which again is the tool our project managers use to visualize and manage these projects. At the very bottom, we've got a section that flags if a project is at risk and has a reason. So this is the before state, and we're going to click our project risk agent to start calculating the risk, and then we'll show you the after state in a second here. So Oscar, over to you to show us some of the back end of this.
Thank you, Adam. So here we are in our demo environment, and the first thing that I'm going to be showing you is how we are going to load the libraries that we need for this project. That has been done. Next, we are going to import the data that we are going to be using to train the model for this specific scenario. As you can see here, the data that is being used for the training of the model has been imported, and we can proceed to the cleaning of this data. As you can see, the tasks that we completed here is just removing the low quality data and just removing all the variables that are not going to be used for the training of this model. Next, I'm going to prepare the data that is going to be used for our model training. And finally, I'm going to start the process of the model training. This is going to take a couple of seconds, so we are going to give it a moment here. Okay. As we can see, the code has selected a random forest classifier as the best model to use for this specific use case. So now that we have a fully trained model, let's look back in CRM.
All right, so here we are back in CRM, and let's refresh our data to see if this project has any risk. And you can see here it does, and at this point it's telling us that the design and the project management functions both have risk. The design is at risk due to the business manager that's assigned to the project, and the project management function is at risk of going over budget simply due to the total project budget, which i.e. is the total project size. So here now we can reframe the conversation around our project management function from assessing all projects to just really those at risk. And this will give the reason why those are at risk. So we can really focus our management activities on these specific tasks.
All right, so we'll take this now from the project and into the support world with our support agent. Many of you probably use CRM like us for your support or other online tools for your support. And those tools can be connected to various agents to help automate the support process. So whether it's intaking the support ticket to determine intent or what the customer might need, to querying online databases or knowledge bases, for what the solution might be, all of that can be automated. In this case, we've got a support agent. Now, I'm showing it in the form here of a chatbot, but it's a true agent that can be triggered from CRM. So by the time a support person even logs into a case about this topic, they've already got a suggestion with what the resolution might be. Really expediting that whole support process and making it a much smoother process for the customer. So again, let's jump in and take a look at this one.
Hi everyone, Adam here from WebSend, and wanted to show you an agent that we've built for our inbound container handling application. Now, this is truly an agent. We've trained it on our anonymized code, all of our app support documentation, and even our knowledge base for common inquiries. We've got implementation questionnaires and user guides that we've trained it on, as well as some of our other public information like our website. So it's extremely reliable, gives very good information. We've even validated it to ensure there's no harmful or confidential information that's communicated. And this is truly an agent. So users can directly interface with it like I'm about to show in a chat format. But other agents like our CRM can interface with this as well and potentially draft replies to client inquiries. And it's just really a big LLM. So you could call it from anywhere in theory, which truly makes this a scalable solution. We wanted to show this because anyone can create a similar agent for various applications or even client-specific processes. So you can use those within your support process. And depending on the type of agent, if you're a partner out there, you might even be able to charge clients for access to that type of service. So wanted to show real quickly what we built and just, give it a few sample inquiries to see how it responds. So again, this is for our inbound container handling app, which in and of itself has some configuration. It's a standalone app. So I'm going to ask it, how can I configure the app? From there, it's going to generate what it thinks is the best solution. You can see here it's walking the user through some of the assisted setup or going to the manual setup and directing on the types of setup that are required. So it's pretty detailed, and it's even got references. You can see here some annotation references to where it got that information from. Now let's ask it like a generic question. I want to FOB receive a container, but the button is disabled. Why? And this is kind of a vague, generic question. So let's see what it comes up with, because the reason for that could be numerous. So you can see here, it gives a few options. Well, it might be a configuration option. So maybe that option to process FOB receipts is not configured. Maybe the status of the container is not such that it can be FOB received. There could be permission or licensing issues. And it gives you some steps to make sure that you can actually go through and process that. So you can see here, it's gone through all the various iterations and given really good detailed feedback. And this is the type of feedback that's really good, again, in a support setting where you just want to pass that along. And again, this was just a really simple, vague inquiry, and it gives some really good detailed options there. But say, let's say none of the options you recommend work. Any ideas why? So let's really push it and see if it can come up with anything further. Well, here we can see, okay, it's still coming up with some similar options, but it's actually come up with kind of a few more. So it's included some validation errors or potentially some other improperly processed information. So we can really truly, push this to its limits. And so really cool, again, really simple ways that you can enhance your support offering for whatever other application you might have by putting that information and that knowledge base into an agent. And then, like I'm sure many are trying to implement, using an agent-to-agent architecture to really simplify your overall offering. So there you have it. That's our inbound container handling app agent. It's available on our website right now, as well as we, like I said, use it in some other forums. So hopefully that was helpful for everyone watching. Thanks.
All right, let's take you now from support to hopefully getting paid for that support. And we'll look at our remittance processing. So, we get electronic payments all the time. We even get payments via check with the remittance on the bottom. All of that needs to be put in your system as a payment that's properly applied to the proper invoices. So we've got a process here, and this came out of a customer request where they get a large volume of remittances electronically because they're paid via EFTs or wire transfers. So they get those electronically. They wanted to put those into the system in a more automated fashion. So we built a tool that will comb through those, pull out the proper information, and it'll apply the document within Dynamics. So again, let's jump in and take a look.
Today, the two of us are going to show reading a document, a physical document, in real time by a machine learning model. So in this example, we're going to show both a check and remittance. However, this functionality can be applied to any physical document. So once read, the transaction can be processed in whatever your end system is here. So Oscar's got a simple check and stub document on the screen that he's showing right now. And in the second example we're going to show you here, we're going to show one that's a bit larger remittance. And there we go. And this one's actually in French. So it's got a number of transactions applied to on the payment remittance at the bottom there, you can see. So let's click to read these documents real quick and see what the solution extracts. So we'll give it a second here. It does take a second. And so what we'll end up seeing here is it's going to extract both the header and the line level information. So on this first one, it's really simple. It's just a one-liner. And so it's going to bring both that header and line level information. And we've had other clients use similar functionality to read quote documents to load into their system as, say, like a project or whatever other physical documents, again, that you might have. All right, so let's see the results here. If you click on that results file, you can see here it's pulled out both the header and the line level information. So let's look at those side by side. We can see here it's for the co-guest home. It's got the date properly. It's got the amount, and it's got that invoice at the bottom that the check has been applied to. So just a really simple way just to process this check remittance into your system. Now, if we go to the larger document, that's probably a strong example here where, at some point you're just going to receive probably electronic payment in your system or in your bank, sorry, I should say. And this is a really simple way just to flow this document from, say, your email into your ERP system and automatically apply whatever payment showed up in your bank to those transactions. So this could be in theory used to load that payment and apply that payment as needed. So really cool example of loading transactions in. You can see this is a little bit more complex. It's in French. The model captures all the details, even in this more complex example. So super useful for any customer looking to still process transactions that are either paper or digital format in an automated way. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I hope this gives you some more ideas of how to apply some of these useful AI tools to your business. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
So those are the 5 examples we had to show you today. We've got many more in our library, but we thought those were really good examples that take you through the life cycle of what we deal with, from sales all the way through the project and getting paid by the customer. And it's areas where we've put some automation in. It's areas where our customers have put some automation in. And hopefully you can apply some of those same tools to your business as well. Again, it doesn't have to be the exact same tool. You could put variations on those depending on your business. But if you need some help with that, we're more than happy to assist you. So please reach out to us at info@websan.com or info@randgroup.com, and we can jump in and aid your team. Thanks, everyone. Take care.